This is Brian Borgen here in Overture West Ashley here in Charleston, South Carolina. In my take on the King's Speech, which again takes place in 1930s, the primary character being Prince Albert, Duke of York, acted by Colin Firth, and the whole cast, a very seasoned cast around him. And the movie itself is very, very well structured, in my opinion. The pace of the movie really agreed with me. And I think that in combination with the lighting that they used, which was kind of more of a lack of color, more of a hard lighting, and the attention to the historical details, and it seemed to fit the era really, really well. And it wasn't over theatrical. I think it made the realness of it. And the movie starts off without giving away too much of the movie, it starts off with Prince Albert giving a speech. And he's got a very difficult speech impediment. And right off the bat, it gives you the kind of meat of the story. And starts you there, then starts the dance through his different relationships and what he's dealing with. And not only being royal and with needing to communicate and understanding his responsibilities and his difficulty with his father, King George V, who is a very good speaker and really pushes Prince Albert to hone his skills, because that's something you need to do. And now they're using the radio. In the 1930s, now the radio is a method to wirelessly broadcast into the homes of the public, and it's a necessary tool, and something that he has to put in the work to get better at. His brother, who's next in line for the throne, Prince Edward, doesn't want to put in that work, and doesn't really want to put the work into being the next king. Doesn't really want that responsibility. And as the movie progresses, that it's a difficult relationship, because Prince Albert's had that stammer since he was young, and it's made the relationship with not only with his father but with his brother very difficult. His brother then, upon the death of their father in 1936, King George V, Prince Edward is then ascending to the throne, but he can't become throne because he opts for a relationship that prohibits him from taking the throne. So he abdicates the throne, which then propels Prince Albert into that position, and also begins the battle, if you will, with the therapist. And Prince Albert's gone through this through his whole life, and they've dealt with therapists, and nothing's worked in the past, and he doesn't believe anything's going to. So his belief in his ability to deal with this is very, very frustrating. And this therapist, who's an Australian actor and therapist, his expertise comes from experience, not from the medical side, but from personal experience, and really believes in his methods. And that's the battle between the two. Is this therapist believes can really tackle this impediment and better deal with it, and become a great king, and become a very good leader, and really wants to help him. And that's the battle. And the therapist has to get very creative and very skillful in putting Prince Albert in situations that bring out that ability to deal with that impediment. And it's an interesting back and forth with that. It's very volatile, but at the same time, they're building a trust between each other, obviously to help Prince Albert better deal with this. And through all this, as it culminates toward the end of the movie, to where Prince Albert is then given his first wartime speech, as they're coming into where they're going to declare war against Germany. One of the things his advisors advise is that the Albert is a very Germanic name, and they're going to war against Germany, so to take on his father's name, and thus, since his brother abdicated the throne, he now should move on as King George VI, and so which he does. And to give this speech, he really leans on and relies on this relationship with his therapist that he's developed this trust and a friendship with. And he's never really had friends growing up, so this is something, that he didn't whether believe he would ever have, or it was very difficult for him. So they go into this room to do it because now they're using the radio to do this. And through the direction of Lionel, the therapist, he works through this and works through the speech and starts to do very well. And throughout the speech gets better and better. And toward the end, where he's not completely done with the impediment and gotten over it, the confidence is there, and you see that. And as he's working through and toward the end, he's not stammering. He's working through, and he's doing very well. And it gets toward the end to where there's a little subtle joke at the end, because they're using the radio, and you're not out in front of the public and in front of a microphone. They can see you speak. You're now hidden away. They can't see you with the speech. And he does so well with it that in the end, before they leave the room, the therapist has a little joke in there that, you still have a little trouble enunciating the W. And Prince Albert, or now King George VI, replies, well, I had to throw some of those in so they would know it was me. And so it's interesting how it progresses through to where he eventually gets to that confidence level and is able to deal with it. Not completely get rid of it, but better deal with it. And the trust he developed with this therapist, and belief that he will be a great leader. And that's my take on it, on the movie. Again, it was very well done, really well acted, and I liked the pace of it to where it was slow enough where you could explore these different relationships. And that's what was intriguing to me. Didn't go too fast where you brushed over those, and it gave you time to kind of dive into it and tie one into the next, and as it progressed through. So it was, again, that was my take, and I would love to get your opinion and your take on the movie as well. And so bye for now, and we'll see you soon.